All right, guys. I hope you're enjoying the Odoo Experience so far. I'm Christophe, and I'm business analyst in our headquarters in Grand Rosière. And the subject of this talk is to talk about how to automate the intercompany flows with intercompany rules inside Odoo. So let's have a quick look at the plan of the presentation. So first of all, I will have a quick introduction to give you a little context about this presentation. And then why should you use Odoo when you're managing multiple companies? And of course, what is our subject is intercompany rules. And then we'll go over a use case where you will see that I will have two companies. One is selling and one is manufacturing, and we'll see together how it works and how to properly configure that, at least for the simplest part of it. Sorry, and then we'll go over a conclusion and then a Q&A session. So first of all, we all know that, I don't know if some of you are managing multiple companies, but it can sometimes be painful because there is a lot of issues managing multiple companies, and these are some of them. So of course, when you have multiple companies and you don't have the same software, for example, in two different companies, you have sometimes to do complex and expensive software integrations between them. So the software are not communicating with each other, and you have to, of course, make sure it will do that. Also, you have sometimes it's difficult to access to all the information about all your companies at the same time because, as the first point I said, you have multiple softwares, so it can be difficult to access to all the information at the same time. And also, what is important is that when you have multiple softwares to manage multiple companies, you have to do manual operations, which means creating a document inside one company and creating the counterpart inside the other one. Fortunately, with Odoo, why should you choose that Odoo to manage your multiple companies? You should use it because, first of all, you can manage all your companies within the same software, meaning that you can easily configure Odoo to make sure all of your companies are inside the same database. So it's really easier for you to access all the information. But don't forget that you can also configure them independently. It doesn't mean that because you have the same software, you have to have the same configuration for all your companies. Also, you have access to, you can analyze real-time reports and consolidated ones, which means that you can access to all the information and you can regroup the data for all your companies at the same time. And of course, the subject of today, it's the automation of intercompany transactions. So, for example, when you purchase something to one of your other company, it creates automatically the counterparts and validate it right away, so you don't have to do manual operations for that. So, as I said earlier, we are going to do a use case together. So, our use case today is basically two companies that are working simultaneously. And one of them is, so it's basically a business of assembling and selling desktops, computers. So you have a sales company that is, of course, selling computers using a make-to-order configuration. And then you have a manufacturing company that receive the purchase order and the request for quotations that are planned to be sold by the sales company to manufacture them, and they'll send them back to the selling company so that you can send it to your client. So we'll go over a little bit of configuration in that case. So first of all, we'll go over this inside Odoo, but I want to show you first. So, of course, to make this work, you have to enable the multi-company. You have to first configure Odoo to make sure multi-companies are allowed. So you can do that, and then you have to enable intercompany transactions. After that, we have two types of integration inside Odoo. We have it at the sale order and purchase order level, which means that when you create a sale order, it automatically creates the counterpart as a purchase order and automatically validate it. And you have an integration at the invoice level, which means when you create a customer invoice, it creates the vendor bill in the other company. So of course, you also have to configure your users to make sure your users are allowed to work in that kind of companies. So we'll switch now to the presentation inside, to the demonstration inside Odoo. So as I told you, so where do you see the multi-companies configuration? You go over the configuration app, and then you have the general settings here. And you have here the multi-company. You see that I checked it. I also shared my contact book and my product catalog, which means all my product and my contact will be available on all my companies. And I have enabled intercompany transactions. Okay, so then I will go into my companies here. So users and companies. And then you see that I have three companies in this case, but I only use two. So it's the sales company and manufacturing company. And in this configuration, you have an access to the intercompany rules. And here you can choose the intercompany rules that you want. So here you see that I have configured it. So we have an integration at the SOPO level. And you see that I have to select my warehouse, and I selected the auto validation of the sale order and purchase order, which means that it will automatically validate it when I create them and confirm. You also see that I have an intercompany user. It's basically the user that would be selected when the counterpart is created. It's an automatic operation, so we have to configure a user to make that. So you see that I have the same for my manufacturing company here. And then, of course, I have to go into my users to actually check if I'm allowed to work in two companies. In this case, because it's our use case, but of course you can only allow one company at a time depending on the person you want to allow access. So then I have a little bit of configuration because I work with manufacturing orders, so I have to configure my product to do that. So I will quickly show you in my product catalog my desktop computer that I want to sell. So I have here my desktop computer. And then you see in the inventory part, I configured the routes so I can buy it in my sales company. I can also manufacture it. I've configured my warehouses to only manufacture in the manufacturing warehouse and only sell in my selling warehouse. And then make to order to make sure the document is directly created when I actually confirm the sales or the purchase order. So then I have, if I switch to my manufacturing company, you will see that I've also created a bill of material to my computer because, of course, computers requires components. So I will quickly show you that. So you see that I'm now in my manufacturing company. And if I go into my bill of materials, you will see that I have a desktop computer in it. So I can manufacture the desktop with my components here. So now we'll go over a use case, a demonstration about that. So I will go to my sales, and I will create a purchase order, a sale order, sorry. So I'm going to choose our beloved Agrole customer, and then I will select my desktop here. I save, and then I will confirm my sale. Sorry? Oh yeah, you're right. Forgot to actually change. Thank you. So yeah, I create a sale order in my sales company, of course. A quotation first, and then I will confirm it. So I select Agrole. And then I select my desktop computer. So I confirm my sale. And you see that if I go into my delivery order is waiting because I don't have any in stock and it's configured as a make to order. So I have to wait that I receive the goods before actually sending them. So now if I go, because I've configured my product this way, purchase order is automatically created inside my sales company to the manufacturing company. So if I go here, request for quotations, you will see that I have here my request for quotation for my manufacturing company for a desktop computer. Okay. So now, if I confirm the order, and now I will switch to my manufacturing company. And if I go to my sales, you see that I have my sale order that is automatically created with the customer sales company. And you see that it's also automatically confirmed. So I don't have to confirm it right away. It's automatically confirmed, which make it easier to manage your different documents. So now that we have configured our products to be manufactured, you will see that it will also trigger automatically a manufacturing order. So if I go into my manufacturing, and if I go to manufacturing order, I will have my manufacturing order here, where I can check my availability for my product. I can produce it. Mark it as done, and now I can ship my goods to my customer, which is my sales company in this case. So I go back to my sale. Oops, not this one. You see that my delivery order is now ready to be shipped. So if I click on it and validate it, then I can go back to my sales company, receive the good, and ship them to the customer. We'll do that right away. So I go into my purchase. This one. I receive my products. I validate it. And then I can ship the goods to my customer. Which is this one. And the workflow is done. So you see that it's really easy to manage this, because you can actually create that automatically, and it creates all the documents you need, and then you just have to check if everything is okay. For example, print the delivery slip or something, and then send it to your customers. So this is yeah, the whole point about the presentation. So in conclusion, what I want you to remember is that with Odoo, you can manage all your companies at the same time in the same software, which make it easier to access all the information, having reporting and so on. And with intercompany transactions, configuring the intercompany rules, you can actually make it easier to manage all your documents and part of your documents automatically. Thank you very much.